Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Tonight's story is about a single dad who had nothing but a toolbox, a tired smile, and a promise to his little boy, and how one unexpected moment changed the life of a billionaire's disabled daughter forever. I still remember the day it all started. It was a gray Monday morning, the kind that feels heavier than usual. My name is Daniel, and for the past 7 years, I've been raising my son Caleb on my own. His mom left when he was 3. No big dramatic goodbye, just a note on the kitchen counter and an empty closet. Since then, it's been the two of us against the world. I worked as a maintenance technician at one of the largest tech companies in the city. The building itself was a shining tower of glass and steel, owned by one of the richest women in the country, Victoria Langford. Everyone knew her name. She was brilliant, ruthless in business, and almost never seen in public unless it was for charity, galas, or interviews. But what people didn't talk about much was her daughter. Her daughter, Lily, was 9 years old and had been in a wheelchair her entire life. A rare neurological condition had left her unable to walk and barely able to move her hands. The doctors had tried everything. Surgeries, therapies, experimental treatments. Nothing worked. Victoria had spent millions searching for a cure, but money can't always buy miracles. I didn't know any of that when I first saw Lily. That morning, I was fixing a broken elevator on the executive floor. The place was usually quiet, carpeted in thick gray fabric that swallowed every sound. I had my headphones in, listening to an old podcast, when I heard a soft mechanical worry behind me. I turned around and saw a sleek motorized wheelchair rolling slowly down the hallway. In it sat a tiny girl with big brown eyes and dark curls resting on her shoulders. She was staring at the floor, her expression blank. Behind her walked a woman in a sharp navy suit, Victoria Langford herself. I recognized her instantly from the news. She looked tired, not the kind of tired you fix with coffee, the kind that lives in your bones. Lily's wheelchair suddenly jerked and stopped. Victoria sighed. "Not again," she muttered. I pulled off my headphones and stood up. "Ma'am, I can take a look if you'd like." She studied me for a moment, probably wondering if she should trust the maintenance guy with her daughter's high-tech wheelchair. But frustration won over hesitation. "Please," she said quietly. I knelt beside the chair and examined the control panel. It wasn't just any wheelchair. It was custom-built, with advanced sensors and touch response pads designed for minimal movement. I noticed the joystick wasn't responding properly. A wiring issue. "Give me a minute," I said, as I worked. I glanced up at Lily. "Hey there," I said gently. "What's your name?" Her eyes shifted toward me. It took her a few seconds, but she whispered, "Lily." Her voice was soft, like she wasn't used to speaking much. "That's a beautiful name," I said. "You know, my son loves drawing lilies. Says they look like stars that forgot how to shine in the sky." Her lips twitched slightly, not quite a smile, but close. Within 10 minutes, I had the wiring reconnected and secured. I reset the panel, and the joystick lit up. "Try it now," I said. Lily moved her fingers carefully. The chair hummed and rolled forward smoothly. Victoria let out a breath I think she'd been holding all day. "Thank you," she said, and for a split second, the billionaire looked like just a mom. They started to leave, but Lily's eyes were still on me. "Do you fix everything?" she asked slowly. I chuckled. "I try." Victoria's expression changed. Something curious flickered there. That afternoon, as I was packing up to leave, I got a call from HR. They said Mrs. Langford wanted to see me in her office. I won't lie, thought I was in trouble. Her office was massive, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Lily was there too, sitting beside her mom. Victoria got straight to the point. "I've been told you repaired Lily's chair faster than the specialist who built it." "I just tightened some wiring," I said. She leaned forward. "Lily hasn't smiled in weeks. Today, she did." I didn't know what to say to that. Then she surprised me. "I want to hire you." "For maintenance?" I asked. "For Lily." The room went silent. She explained that Lily's condition required constant adjustments to her mobility devices. Engineers designed them, but they didn't understand her as a person. They treated her like a project. Victoria wanted someone patient, someone kind. "I can't pay you what you make here," she said quickly. "I'll pay you much more." I thought about Caleb, about overdue bills, about the nights I stayed up wondering how I'd afford his school trip next month. But I also thought about what it meant. "I'll need to bring my son sometimes," I said. Victoria blinked. "Of course," and just like that, my life changed. Over the next few weeks, I started spending afternoons at the Langford estate. It was enormous gates, gardens, marble floors. Caleb thought it was a castle. At first, Lily barely spoke. Physical therapy exhausted her. Most days, she stared out the window while I adjusted her chair, modified the arm supports, and fine-tuned the motor sensitivity. But I noticed something. The technology was incredible, but it wasn't built for how she actually tried to move. It assumed symmetry, precise pressure. Lily didn't have that. One evening, after Caleb had gone home with my neighbor, I stayed late in the estate's workshop. I kept thinking about the way Lily's fingers twitched when she got excited. Tiny, irregular movements. What if the chair didn't need perfect input? What if it learned her patterns instead? I started sketching an idea, a sensor system that adapted to my... Instead of expecting her to control the chair would learn to respond to her. It took weeks. I worked after hours, unpaid. I ordered affordable components online, soldered circuits at my kitchen table while Caleb did homework. Finally, I had a prototype. The next day, I asked Victoria for permission to test something new. She looked skeptical but desperate. If there's even a chance. We installed the adaptive sensors into Lily's wheelchair. My hands were shaking as I connected the final wire. "Okay, Lily," I said softly, "just move your hand the way you normally do." She tried. The chair rolled forward. Not jerky, not hesitant. Smooth. Her eyes widened. Again, I whispered. She twitched her fingers to the left. The chair turned. Victoria covered her mouth with both hands. Lily started laughing. A real laugh. Loud and bright. She moved again faster. This time and the chair responded instantly. She spun in a small circle, giggling, and then something happened that I will never forget. Lily pushed her arms down on the armrests, straining. The new sensors picked up the pressure differently. The chair adjusted its support. She lifted herself just slightly enough to shift her weight forward in a way she never could before. "Mom," she cried. Victoria fell to her knees beside her daughter. Tears streamed down her face as she wrapped her arms around Lily. "You did it," she sobbed. "Baby, you did it." I stepped back, my own vision blurry. It wasn't a cure. Lily still couldn't walk. But for the first time, she wasn't fighting her own chair. It was working with her. Over the next few months, the adaptive system improved. Lily gained more control, more independence. She started going outside more. She even joined an online art class. One afternoon, she asked if she could try standing therapy again. The physical therapist hesitated. It had always been painful and discouraging before, but with the new support system integrated into a standing frame, I modified. Something incredible happened. With assistance, Lily managed to stand upright for nearly 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Victoria was crying again, not quiet tears this time. Full, shaking sobs of relief and gratitude. She turned to me and said, "You gave my daughter a miracle." I shook my head. "No, ma'am. She gave herself a chance. I just listened." The word eventually spread. Victoria insisted on funding the development of the adaptive technology so other children could benefit. She named the initiative after Lily, but the real miracle wasn't the funding or the headlines. It was the day Lily asked if Caleb could come over more often. They became inseparable. He'd sit beside her, showing her his drawings, and she'd control her chair to chase him around the garden. For the first time in years, the Langford estate sounded like a home instead of a museum. One evening, as I was packing up my tools, Victoria approached me quietly. "I've spent my life building companies," she said. "I thought money could fix anything. But what my daughter needed wasn't just money. She needed someone who cared enough to see her." She handed me an envelope. Inside was a contract. Not just employment, partnership. Share in the new company that would produce the adaptive systems. "You deserve more than a paycheck," she said. I looked at Caleb playing tag with Lily across the lawn. For years, I'd felt like I was barely keeping my own child afloat, like I was always one step away from failing him. But in helping Lily, I realized something. Being a parent isn't about having all the answers. It's about refusing to stop trying. The day the first batch of adaptive chairs shipped out to hospitals across the country, Lily insisted on pressing the launch button herself. Her fingers trembled, but the system understood her. When the screen flashed "deployment successful," the room erupted in applause. Victoria hugged her daughter, then turned to me. "Thank you," she whispered, and I realized that sometimes the greatest miracles don't come from wealth or power. They come from patience, from empathy, from a single dad who stayed up late with a soldering iron because he couldn't stand the thought of a little girl feeling trapped. If this story touched your heart, make sure to like and subscribe, because sometimes the world changes not with grand gestures, but with small acts of love that teach machines and people how to listen. And I promise you, this won't be the last story that reminds us what real miracles look like.